Good morning, Vietnam. No, good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. What is going on? I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We've made it to Pokemon Legends Arceus season, and it feels freaking awesome. Been playing the game all morning. It's awesome. I got a lot of cool videos coming your way that should be helpful and interesting, so make sure to check those out. But we got Nintendo news to discuss. All right, new release dates have emerged, and the year becomes even more clear. Mario, Donkey Kong, and Crash have a competitor entering the fray, and I'm oddly excited for this one. It looks really good. We found out more information about Sonic Frontiers. It's becoming clear what kind of game this is and what it isn't, and I'm curious if this makes you excited or bummed. Plus, a Zelda game with only dungeons. Hyrule Field, what? What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I'm so pumped for today's episode, and I'm so glad to be here with you. I really feel like we got this Nintendo connection and this positivity connection. Thank you for helping me make the world a better place on a daily basis. Hit that like button if you enjoy the show, and let me know your take on today's topics in the comments down below. Now, let me tell you, this Q1 is unlike any I've experienced in recent memory. There are so many big games coming out, like holiday-worthy games coming out in January, February, and a whole lot of release dates getting confirmed as well. Let's go through a couple here. 2 Point Campus getting dropped on us May 17th. And I actually think the 2 Point franchise is underrated. All right, 2 Point Hospital was pretty darn fun, and 2 Point Campus feels like college if designed and imagined by Michael Scott. All right, there's a lot of fun imbued here. Clowns, giant pizzas, crazy robots, and it looks like a great way to sort of relive your college experience, but done like psychotically and very, very goofily. I'm excited for this one. They announced a physical version as well. It's coming to Switch day and date, and it'll be available later this year. If you know me, you know that my favorite rap is the DK rap. Donkey Kong holds a special place in my heart, and I am desperate for that announcement of the highly rumored DK follow-up specifically made for Switch. But in the meantime, we've had other platforming heroes make their way to the platform, including Banjo and Kazooie on the N64 Online Edition. We had Crash Bandicoot return with CB4, which was really fun to return to that franchise. And now we have KO the Kangaroo coming back summer 2022. Now, if you don't know who KO is, he's a kangaroo, and he has boxing gloves, and he was big on the Dreamcast, also the GameCube, and the Game Boy Advance. Now, don't write this one off, because look at the trailer. And if I told you this game was made by Nintendo, I think you'd be mightily excited. It is a 3D platforming adventure that reminds me a lot of the direction that Crash Bandicoot 4 took, and it looks really fun. It's got sort of the charm and pizzazz of DK, the platforming of Crash, and I hope it comes together well. If it controls right and feels fun, has some cool collectibles and some challenge, interesting ideas like minecart levels, there's some sliding stuff going on, I think KO could definitely hold us over. They might not KO Mario or Donkey Kong or even Crash, but I love to see this genre really resurging. And a new one done right, man, that'll just push Nintendo to make Donkey Kong even better. Be honest with me, if this was DK instead of KO, if this was Nintendo, would you be pumped? And are you pumped nonetheless? Because it looks good to me. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Can't wait to play this one this summer. Now, we won't be playing Sonic Frontiers until later this fall/holiday season, but the prospects of a really cool Advance and Evolve Sonic game are intriguing to say the least. We've seen Zelda level up. We've seen Pokemon level up. It's about time that the blue blur levels up as well. And the Sonic Team creative officer, Takashi Iizuka, acknowledged that Sonic Forces was kind of more of the same, and Sonic Frontiers looks to deliver an all-new Sonic game. But then he said something very interesting, because we've kind of thought of Sonic Frontiers as the Breath of the Wild foray for Sonic, right? An open world game, and there were some kind of muddling early reports that maybe it wasn't all that great, and perhaps that contributed to the delay from 2021 to 2022, and hopefully they get the game right. But listen to this quote here. "We focused on bringing Sonic to the next level and ensuring that he's fully represented as the character that fans know and love while still making his new form exciting. We're once again expanding the Sonic universe, bringing in new environments and additional features to create a totally new type of open zone experience." Could have said open world, but you say open zone. And this makes me really think that Sonic Frontiers is not fully open world in the traditional sense, and instead will be more zone-based, like Monster Hunter Rise, or like Pokemon Legends Arceus, where you do go to an open area, but then explore that level and return to some sort of hub or menu, and then venture out again to a new environment. Now, personally, I think this is a plus for the type of game Sonic is. I don't know that open world Sonic flinging him all around and fighting random baddies and climbing towers Ubisoft style would really end up being all that exciting. And perhaps they decided to make the game a bit more linear as they play tested and focus grouped the project. I hope that Open Zone is still fun and new and fresh, but I hope that the focus does deliver a Sonic experience that is more interesting than just, hey, let's make it open world. I bet some of you wish that this would go open world because maybe that is the most new thing Sonic could do, and maybe they'd find a way to make it great, but it's very clear. The Sonic team has chosen to not use open world and instead use open zone, and so we're gonna have an interesting kind of hybrid Sonic game this holiday season. I really hope it's good. You got the movie coming out with Knuckles, which I'm pumped about. Idris Elba doing the voice work. That would be great if there was a really good Sonic game to go along with it. Personally, I don't know if they can do it, but let me know what you think about open zone games in the comments down below. All right, now look, it's so good to get to Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I'm telling you, this thing is gonna be played a lot by me, by you, and by a bunch of Nintendo Switch owners. But every day that passes, we also get one day closer to Breath of the Wild 2, a game that is so anticipated, it cannot be topped. And I freaking hope that they find a way to make Breath of the Wild 2 even better than its predecessor. And one way they can do that is with dungeons. I think that's something the fan base really wants and something that would expand the experience, but also pay homage to past Zeldas. Breath of the Wild did a lot new, but let's bring old with new and find the perfect Zelda game. Because if they can combine the best of the past with the best of the future, then we have the ultimate Zelda, and the Switch is literally the best system of all time. Now let me know if you feel strongly about dungeons, but let me direct your attention to something that could give us an insight into where they're headed. Because everyone knows that Aonuma is the head dude over with Zelda right now, but Miyamoto is Mr. Nintendo, and he was the director on the original Legend of Zelda, and they've uncovered and translated an interview where Miyamoto revealed something very interesting about the original philosophy for the Legend of Zelda. Did you know that the Legend of Zelda started off being a dungeons-only game, and the overworld was added as an alternate idea? Now this to me is fantastic and kind of crazy, because I can't imagine how the franchise would have progressed if they never introduced an overworld, like no Hyrule feel, nowhere to explore. It would have been much more puzzly, much more action-oriented, and the explorative elements that we love in Breath of the Wild, maybe they would never have reached the heights they reached. But the dungeon focus is clearly the core of the franchise, and yet it's the one big piece missing from BOTW. I think that if you look at Miyamoto's quote here, where he says, "Did you know in the original Legend of Zelda, at the beginning of development, it was just dungeons. There was no overhead map." That's a testament to the dungeon supremacy philosophy we've always followed. Dungeon supremacy. Now, Breath of the Wild, best-selling Zelda, many people's favorite, best Switch game by a lot of accounts. No dungeon supremacy. So when they go to make Breath of the Wild 2, a darker experience, a follow-up sequel, a new game after many years developing on Switch, and one that will be on Switch and not on Wii U, I say they are definitely returning to dungeon supremacy. This is the core of the franchise. It's one of the tentpoles that helps Link and Zelda exist and thrive for decades. And I bet my butt that they do not avoid dungeon supremacy 2 times in a row. This is the crux of what makes Zelda special, and those different dungeons and the items you acquire, the bosses you face, those are the memories we hold near and dear. And now that we've had the first foray into open Zelda, and we flew off the plateau for the first time, we've had that moment. I don't think flying off the plateau again will have such an impact. I don't think scaling a large mountain will have such a memorable moment. Dungeons are going to return, and I feel like dungeon supremacy, that philosophy is something we're gonna really realize plays a big part in Breath of the Wild 2. And if they don't, I will be shocked. If they decide to abandon their original philosophy, that seems ridiculous for a company that holds so true to their past, while also advancing to the future. It's the reason Nintendo games are so successful right now, because they're finding the roots of gameplay and mechanic that are so fun and so awesome, and merging them, blending them with big new ideas with new design philosophy. But at the end of the day, Nintendo knows that their origins are critical. Their origins are crucial. And I think we will see Dungeon Supremacy come back. This is a franchise that initially started with only dungeons. And to have another game without any focus on dungeons really at all would be a huge misstep. So let me know in the comments down below if you think dungeons will return for Breath of the Wild 2. We haven't really seen the structure of the game or the story. We've just seen some new gameplay tricks and some new abilities that Link has with his messed up arm that I think is actually quite magical. Hopefully we find out more soon. If the game is to release in 2022, which I still believe it will, I think that's Nintendo's holiday hit, we need to find out what's going on coming up here. There's no E3 yet. Nintendo will probably still have an E3 Direct. Although I do think there's a possibility that Nintendo shows off Breath of the Wild 2 at the February Direct. We've talked in recent episodes about how it really looks like Nintendo is lining up a new presentation super soon. And I think if they don't have a huge title to look forward to, like they're not ready to show off Mario Kart 9 or they've got nothing new on Metroid Prime 4, then maybe it is time to really dive deep into The Legend of Zelda. You may recall that Aonuma said, hey, we've got to look at Zelda and then we probably won't have anything the rest of the year. That was back when they were kind of apologizing for not having a huge anniversary celebration. Well, it's time to kick that thing off again. Kirby is getting his dues, Sonic is getting his dues, Mario already got his dues, DK might get his. Man, the Dungeon Supremacy philosophy, it needs its dues. And I think we're gonna see Zelda looking better than ever and back to its roots in the next Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. I can't freaking wait. Miyamoto is a super fun guy. He's a great dude. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him and drawing with him, which was the most legendary experience of my life. But he continued in this Unearthed interview talking about how Navi annoyed him too, which I thought was just a cool anecdote. You may remember in Ocarina of Time that Navi is always, hey, listening you. And back in my middle school days, that was like everybody's ringtone. You know anybody with the hey listen text tone or ringtone? I bet you do. But Miyamoto said that the truth is I wanted to remove the entire system, all the hints that Navi provided, because he says if you read Navi's text, she says the same things over and over. I know it makes it sound bad, but we purposely left her at kind of a stupid level. I think if we tried to make Navi's hints more sophisticated, that stupidity would have actually stood out even more. You can think of Navi as being there for players who stop playing for a month or so, who then pick the game back up and want to remember what they were supposed to do. It's a brazen excuse, I know. I thought that was just really nifty to hear that even he don't like Navi sometimes, and he would have rather kept the game more obtuse and more difficult in that way, kind of like the original Legend of Zelda. And I do feel like Breath of the Wild holds some of that charm and appeal, where you are kind of just thrust out there. Go explore, figure it out, take on the adventure as you see fit. And I just can't wait for that next adventure. Can you wait for that next adventure? We need Breath of the Wild 2. It better not get delayed. It better not get delayed. It better not get delayed. I'd knock on wood, but it would shake the camera and my editor would be upset. All right, we've made it to another awesome poll, and this one was a lot of fun. A lot of different opinions here, and if you want to share your opinion, make sure to check out the community polls every weekday evening on the community tab. Subscribe and turn that notification bell on so you can be part of the conversation. I asked if you could invite one of these Nintendo characters to dinner, who would it be? Mario, Link, Samus, Zelda, or Bowser? Everybody loves a good princess. 35% picked the lovely Zelda, which I think is pretty awesome. Girl power is doing pretty good with Nintendo. I hope Zelda's playable, at least for some of the game. That would be really nifty, kind of switchable characters. Maybe not all the time, but like in a specific sequence. Maybe Link gets imprisoned and Zelda has to go to work. That is what I'd love to see. Now, 22% of you picked Link, and it seems like everybody wants to learn about what it's like to go toe-to-toe with a giant pig. 20% picked Samus. Metroid Dread is recent, and she's a freaking space hunter. That sounds awesome. Maybe she'd have news about Boba Fett. Did you see the last episode? Pretty freaking sweet, wasn't it? 15% picked Mario, and 9%, like me, picked Bowser. You might be worried he'd burn your food or just bust things all up, but I want to know what it's like to lose to Mario over and over. And maybe I could even give him some tips to plan a better wahaha next time he sees the red plumber. Either way though, what a fun question. And man, I'd love to have dinner with any of these characters. Freaking give me a Goomba. I'm sure they have a lot of interesting stories to tell. But alas, my friends, I'll tell you more about Nintendo tomorrow on the next episode of GMM. Don't forget, I got Pokemon Legends Arceus content going up right now, so check it out. The game is ridiculously cool, and we're gonna be playing a bunch of it. I will see you all on the next video, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button on your way out, and stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. I appreciate you guys and girls and everybody so very much. Thanks again. SwitchForce out.